Hey, this is Steph from Get to the Roots and Get to the Roots Extras. So I just got way too focused Get to the Roots yet again. Yes, I know. I really like doing a radio show, you guys. I realized today that this is definitely not something for everyone, but this was something for me. And just the fact that I get to do it makes me really happy. So I worked on a show today about heat illness. And the reason I did that is because one, it's so hot outside. And two, being someone who's outside frequently, I've missed like 4 or 5 things in the month of July that I wanted to do just because I was overheated. And, heat illness and it being hot outside and weather forecasting and the temperatures and trends in Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, and Florida in general is an interesting topic. And I thought, why not be informative for once? No, actually, I always try to drop some knowledge bombs on the radio show because it's cool to listen to music and to feel things, but also it's neat to learn something too. And sometimes quick little facts with a little bit of depth are all you need to keep things interesting. So I'm two more things real quick. One, I'm going to play the clips after this introduction, and you can see the lengths I went to in between, or not in between, when you listen to the clips, because I put music behind things. I put in sound effects, much like I did for the interview I did with Alexis recently. I really got into designing the show to have some really good sounds for people's ears, as well as content for them to hear cool things. So on this one, I was definitely, as they say back in my generation, I was being such a total little try hard for this one. But, sometimes that's just who you are. And then, so secondly, you will hear in the clips, and now we're going to hear some music. That's just because, of course, they went on to the radio, and in between them, you won't hear the music on this because this is the podcast version. This is Get to the Roots Extras. But I wanted to archive all my hard work to show everyone that I'm a try-hard, I guess. And then I know I said 2 things, but thirdly, 3 things. I did reach out to some people to see if they wanted to talk about the heat. Because, living here in St. Pete, local people, local friends of mine, we're all experiencing it daily in some form or another. And I got some people interested, and I got some no's, and it made me think oh my God, you know what? I always I think a lot of us do this. We go into the world and we think everyone's just like us. When I heard Alexis was going to do learning how to do a show on Radio St. Pete, I was like, oh my God, I want to do that so bad. Please, can I do that too? But there's people in the world where you're hey, you want to talk on my radio show, say something about, easy about the heat, all these options. And people are oh, no, thanks. It's not my thing. And it's just oh, yeah, it is not everyone's thing to be a ham and have this drive to want to entertain people. So I don't know. I just really like that. And I just want to give a big shout out to all the people that I did ask that either said yes or no. I just appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to or read my message, and to actually let me know if it was or was not your thing. So thank you so much. There's sometimes I get discouraged in the city, but then I realize people here will have the decency to let you know. And I like that a lot, I like some of the people's here. They're all right, they're good. So yeah, so, okay, next let's hear the clips, and I'm not going to include anything from I'm calling them on the show if I do get some responses and people to talk that aren't me, my Get to the Roots correspondence. I'm not going to include them on the podcast version so that I can get this episode done and ready, and also just for cohesiveness in case I don't get anyone in for it. I may, if I get permission from the people helping me out for the show, to include them on the podcast episode. Let's do a second one, and you can see that as a part 2 coming up. Okay, here are the clips. Oh, number 1. It is so hot this summer in St. Petersburg. How hot is it? Well, I'll tell you, it's so hot and so humid that walking around outside feels like you're constantly taking a sticky shower with your clothes on all day. And actually, that can be a really serious thing. So today's topic here on Get to the Roots is, of course, heat exhaustion and various things. And the weather, so interesting. So let's learn a little bit more about heat exhaustion from some experts, the internet, because I did not have time to get a guest or know how to find a guest. And also, it's hot, so I feel bad for any guests that would want to come on and talk about the heat, but we'll see what we can do. The symptoms of heat exhaustion include heavy sweating, dizziness, nausea, lightheadedness, even vomiting, being weak or tired, having a headache. Oh, this is a bad one. Cool, pale, or clammy skin. They say that people with heat exhaustion can experience a fast and weak pulse and or muscle cramps. That actually comes from the Mayo Clinic. And then also, of course, online it's always advised like what you should do if you have these very dangerous, life-threatening things. And of course, it's getting cooled down, drinking electrolytes, and going to the doctor or seeking help if you need to. Which, and of course, you'll find that everywhere whenever you look up anything about heat exhaustion, heat stroke, or just working or being outside in super hot and humid weather, to always get help if you do not feel right, or if you're just out there for a long period of time. So that is a culmination of what the experts are saying out there about what to expect when you're melting. Honestly, just like from personal experience, I always feel like I'm walking through a bowl of soup if I'm outside for more than 15 minutes in the July, August, and September months out here in sunny St. Pete. And that's okay. I mean, some like it hot, I think I've heard it said. Anyway, we should probably get back to some music. Number 2. All right, so on Get to the Roots today, the topic is it's hot, hot, hot outside. And feeling that energy, we're going to talk a little bit more about the weather. Gosh, isn't that the most cliche thing? Like, if you're so boring that you have to talk about the weather. Anyway, it's extreme here in St. Pete, so maybe just this time it's interesting. And it's really nice to not talk about a hurricane for once, knock on wood. So let's talk a little bit more about the stats here in Tampa Bay, Florida, and what they mean for all of us living here, or if you're listening from out of town, just being connected to this place. Okay, so according to places like Climate Check and other websites online found by Google, thank you, Google, there is a long-term trajectory here in St. Pete for climate getting hotter. And one of the reasons for that is the urban heat island effect. It's very urban here, and even though it's peninsula, it creates like this urban heat island effect. I think they also might call those concrete jungles, though I'm not entirely sure about that. But anyway, back in the 1990s, St. Pete only had about 7 days a year that averaged above 93.5 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a really interesting, actually, metric for this, 93.5 degrees Fahrenheit. But that is what they're saying on the internet. But in 2050, it's projected that we will get up to 80 to 85 days per year, exceeding 93.5 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's quite a change in 60 years. Yeah, that's a pretty steep rate. So if you do some simple math, you can estimate that according to these projections, since 1990, every year St. Pete has 1 to 2 more days that are very hot. Also, I converted the 93.5 degree Fahrenheit metric into Celsius, thinking that would shed some light on why that was the cutoff temperature for this measurement, but it just converts to 34.1 degrees Celsius. So I don't think that's the reason why. Don't you guys prefer a whole number when looking at estimations? That's just really weird. It sounds like a radio station, like 93.4 degrees Fahrenheit here in sunny St. Pete. You're melting. All right, let's hear some music. But really and truly, woof, a couple degrees here and there is not a big difference when you're full of sweat coming out of every orifice. In 2025, there is 29 days that were verified over 90 degrees Fahrenheit. The humidity in the summer in St. Pete averaged between 75 to 80%, which means that the peak daily heat indexes were increased by 10 to 15 degrees Fahrenheit, depending on those percentages. So that 90-degree day with a 80% humidity rate would feel like 105, 106, 107. Woof. The hottest day last year was July 27th, 2025, with the peak temperature at 96 degrees Fahrenheit. And the average humidity, the index that month, was 76.6%. The lowest, and also interestingly enough, the least humid months here in St. Pete are April and May. So that might be why our springs feel a little bit less harsh than our summers. All right, well, that seems like enough facts mixed with jokes and trying to limit opinions. Let's get back to some hot music, and we will be back to talk more things related to the temperature and such outside soon. Yes, today's topic is it's hot outside, which I think is a recurring topic. Number 3. Our topic today in Focus on Get to the Roots is it's hot outside. It's so hot, but this time with facts about the weather instead of just complaining the whole time. And of course, we were playing music in the playlist today that relates to that as well. So let's hit you with a little bit more Florida heat-related facts. So the hottest part of Florida is actually, according to research done by according to places like climate.net, the coolest place in Florida is actually a place called Century, also Niceville, which are right up there next to each other. And the hottest place in Florida is, of course, you are probably guessing this already, Key West, with taking into consideration their annual average temperatures. So if you're looking at a map, Key West, bottom right, and Niceville, Century, upper left. So really close to Alabama and the Panhandle, much further elevation up there. Also, just more higher up in the latitude as well, further away from the equator. Of course, in Key West, I mean, that's like the bitty bottom point of Florida, just about. I'm actually surprised it wasn't Miami or Homestead with the urban jungle concrete heat island effect or whatever it's called. But of course, you never know. Okay, so in recent history, the hottest day was last year in Florida when Tampa reached 100 degrees Fahrenheit on that July 27th, 2025. The heat index exceeded 110 degrees Fahrenheit that day. And then the coldest day in Florida in recent years was January 16th, 2026, so not too long ago, up in Jacksonville, where they had a record low of 22 degrees Fahrenheit. Though if you look back in history in Florida, back in 1931, it was apparently recorded that the hottest day in Florida was 109 degrees Fahrenheit over in Monticello. And in 1899, they did record a day in Tallahassee where it was -2 degrees Fahrenheit. So we have seen some ranges throughout history, though I wasn't sure if those numbers were recorded in a way that was more or less accurate than what we've seen today. So I wanted to mention to you all the most recent hot and cold days too. You know, some of these days really do seem like those days where you could just take an egg and make scrambled eggs on the hood of your car. Anyway, let's get back to some music. Let's see what else we can find in the Radio St. Pete database that fits our theme. Number 4. All right, so here on Get to the Roots today, we are talking about how it's hot, so hot outside most of the summer, and we are actually celebrating 1 year ago and some change today. We had the hottest day in recent recorded history here in Tampa, Florida, Tampa Bay, Florida. In Tampa, it was 100 degrees on July 27th, 2025, and the heat index was very, very hot as well. So it reached a heat index of around 110 at some points around this time last year. And so that got me thinking about a little bit more weather facts that I could drop on your listening ears today. So in this day and age, things have changed a lot. I mean, most of us listening were alive during the 20th century, but now we're in the 21st century and technology keeps improving sometimes. So it used to be that weather forecasts were not updated as frequently as they are now. They actually update them every 6 to 12 hours. So things can really change as more data goes into those radars and the other equipment used to analyze the weather. So the accuracy rates by range, as listed by NOAA, is 1 to 2 days out. You'll see a 90 to 95% accuracy rate for the forecast. Changes are minor, adjustments to timing and or high temperatures. And then when you're like 3 to 5 days away, that drops down to about 80 to a 90% accuracy. Storm tracks and rain tracks begin to sharpen or pivot. So 3 to 5 days out, they kind of know when the storms are going to happen. And then when you get about a week out from that weather forecast, around 7 days or more, it drops down to 50 to 80% accurate. So forecasts past a week behave more like generalized probability trends than exact events. So not looking at 100% even now in this day and age, though the technology has changed a bit over the years. According to sources like NASA and a couple other places online, in the 20th century, weather forecasting was reliant upon radio sondes and radar, weather satellites, weather balloons, numerical weather prediction, and then later supercomputers ran mathematical physics equations to simulate the atmosphere digitally. So very cool. And then now up in the 21st century, they do something called ensemble forecasting, which is running multiple model variations at once, helping to measure and reduce uncertainty. They also use advanced supercomputing, which are global models that process millions of data points continuously for high-resolution local forecasts. Oh my goodness, what a mouthful. And then, of course, because we can't go a moment without thinking about it sometimes, they're also using AI, machine learning algorithms, and those now augment traditional physics models to predict patterns instantly. So the new AI is very quickly applied to this data, and they use they do the predictions that way as well. So that is a little look into how the weather is forecasted and the accuracy of said weather. Man, my brain is still melted from being outside sometime this week. All right, let's get back to some music and then a couple more fun things planned for this heat-related illness related broadcast of Get to the Roots here on Radio St. Pete. And that was the last clip. So, as I've said in the past, I'm not sure exactly who the audience this exact podcast is for. It really is just to document my work at the radio station, but also talk about things that I want to talk about too, to share my enthusiastic nature and my enthusiasm for being entertaining on the radio, or what I think is entertaining. God, I hope I'm not torturing people on the radio once a week. How fun it is for me to do something like this and to inspire you if it's something that you want to do, because it is a lot of fun if you're the type of person that would have fun doing something like this. And then also just to just show some of the work that goes behind it. You can see how those clips may fit in between the different music. And then I didn't name any of the music in those clips specifically because if I do get a bunch of things back from some of the people that I reached out to talk on the radio, then I can move songs around more easily within the playlist without being stuck to certain ones. Like if I need to replace a longer song with a shorter one, etc., it can be done a lot more easily. Or even if I need to reorder the clips, which I don't think I need to do because I think the order is fine. Okay, so thank you for checking out the podcast today. This will be scheduled to be uploaded on Wednesday, July 29th, at the same time as the radio show on Radio St. Pete, so it's not released early. Not that I think that anyone is really at this point in time going to check out both and oh my God, steal my dumb ideas. No, I don't think that would happen. But I also, if there are people that listen to both, I want to keep the focus always on the radio show itself, not the behind the scenes type of things. Okay, thank you again for listening. I hope that you're doing great. Stay cool out there. And since it's the podcast version, I can tell you better drink your electrolytes. Like Lionel Richie said at his most recent concert here in Tampa Bay, that electrolytes don't really taste very good, but his doctor is making him drink them because he doesn't want to pass out on stage or anything again or have any more health problems. Yeah, so we went to his show, him and Earth, Wind & Fire recently came to Tampa at the benchmark, and everyone was talking about his most recent health scare. And Lionel Richie was so charismatic and so charming. He changed his jokes in between songs. He changed them into a lot of jokes related to having that scare from being dehydrated a couple weeks before. So it was really funny. Also, just big props to the legendary Lionel Richie for still coming and doing concerts at 78 years of age, as well as having very funny, charismatic banter in between songs. It really made the show even more enjoyable. And also, it was so funny because he had this amazing saxophone player playing with him on stage, and that was one of the people that came twice to offer him electrolytes during the show. And I think he even made a joke about how his doctor had to see him drinking the electrolytes, so that's why he was doing it on stage. I don't know, it was good. It was good multitasking, it was funny, he sang great, and then Earth, Wind& and Fire, they were wonderful as openers, like, just 2 legends that night. That's, like, the one thing this month I was able to do and get to, even in the extreme heat, and I'm so glad I could sit down. But that was, like, the one thing I made it to, and I was, like, so happy to go, so I'm glad to share that with you all as well. Okay, so I hope they enjoyed this, like, behind the scenes radio show type of info today, and I hope that you are cool and stay cool and all of the things. Okay, talk to y'all later. Bye.